Cool. Should we start then?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. So I asked you guys to look at the two clips, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and the Dark Knight one. I got some questions. So for the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood one, do you like the way Tarantino used the 4:3 ratio and black and white colouring to transport the viewer into his perception and era of Hollywood?
So I like that that kind of aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Because of it's a old style edit.
Yeah.
And that's what works very, very well by watching that, and the cropped bars from the top and also the actual sides give it more of a older appearance.
Yeah.
So I found it very engaging.
Yeah.
Because it like directly focuses.
Yeah.
Your vision onto one single screen.
Yeah.
Instead of having a big a bigger aspect ratio.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. How did the different aspect ratios affect how you relate to the characters played by Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt in the opening?
So, for the opening scene worked very well.
Yeah.
Because of the black and white.
Yeah.
Contrast that it gave off.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, what I liked about it was that it was quite quick.
Yeah.
And the actual fact that the bars paid a really good picture of what it used to be like, maybe.
Yeah, because Tarantino was going for like a really suave 60s look in the opening, so that's why he shot that portion of the of the opening in the TV show, and allows the viewer to really connect with the two characters. And how does the aspect ratio how does the change of the aspect ratio affect how you relate to the clip? So the majority of it is 4:3, and then it immediately cuts to the pan back from the smiley face poster into the car where Dame 2 getting a 240. So how do you think it, changes? Like how do you relate to it?
So that worked very well.
Yeah.
Give it two different two different genres. So you
definitely.
So the first half of that music that movie, was like old and like old fashioned, going back to the cowboy days.
Yeah.
And then the scene where they were in the car was like fairly modern, and it was all in colour, which I liked.
Yeah.
Because it gives a good contrast between the two clips.
Yeah.
And I thought that worked very well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, Lewis,
to really engage with the audience.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and also, do you think those aspect ratios made them feel like you were living with the characters and the world that we're in, or did the other aspect ratio in color do that for you? So like the 240 versus the black and white one.
Maybe a bit of both, but mostly what did it for me was the transformation of black and white to colour.
Yeah, because
that really strikes me, and the way that it did that was very, very seamless.
Yeah, because
you wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. Lewis, how do you feel on that question?
With the first video, I really like. I'm a sucker for the 4.3
4:3.
aspect ratio.
Yeah.
It's my favorite aspect ratio ever.
Yeah.
I like it. It was very well framed when he was doing the interview with him.
Yeah.
And it was like off-putting, but it was very good.
Yeah.
But when it went to normal aspect ratio again, it was not just a change of aspect ratio.
Yeah.
It was a change of color. Like the colors were not just normal; they were more vibrant.
Yeah.
And there was a sound effect that went with it. So it's like it was like satisfying to watch.
Yeah. Would you say it's very authentic to how they would have done it back in the day?
I don't know if they've done it. I don't know if they would have done that back in the day, but with black and white and that aspect ratio, they would have done that. But it would be harder for them to do the stuff.
Cool. That's great answers. Cool. Now, onto the onto the Dark Knight prologue. What effect does the IMAX 70mm aspect ratio give the realism of the scene? Like, what feeling did you get when you saw the big cropped black bars, and then when the music hit, it just opened up really wide, like really, really wide?
So for me, I found that was amazing, like little references.
Yeah.
Because it gives the audience some sort of intense.
Yeah.
To make that scene seem intense.
Yeah.
And also it helps that people, because some people don't know what's going to be happening.
Yeah.
So for me, that gave me a little hint of what was meant to be coming, because you can see a lot more of the screen.
Yeah, the top and bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that really made me feel very good about that. I think I was half expecting it to be like that all the way through. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, Chris Nolan and his team only shoot portions of his films on those cameras because they're just too noisy and heavy, and you can't really hear the dialogue that well. Yeah, so why do you think the director Christopher Nolan chose that aspect ratio for certain sequences and that opening scene of the film?
Maybe he wanted to kind of grab the audience's attention by doing it every now and again.
Yeah.
Instead of doing it throughout the whole scene or throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, it's just, I think Nolan really wants the viewer to feel immersed in his images, so that's why he shoots the majority of his films in that format. And also, did you notice the resolution? Because were you aware that it's the highest resolution ever seen on film and in cinema? So, go on, Ben. Sorry.
Yeah. Go on, Lewis.
Yeah, in the beginning of it, it was like scene 4. At the beginning.
Yeah.
The IMAX logo was coming up.
Yeah. Believe it or not, that's actually how they originally presented the print, because that's how I saw the print twice up in London. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Somehow the guy got a hold of it. I don't know how, but
I think ratio for action is very particular, because for tenseness and action and building up a certain emotion.
Yeah.
aspect ratio is like something that's not many people think of when they do it, do they?
Yeah, I mean, The Dark Knight was the first ever Hollywood picture to use those cameras because originally they were used for nature documentaries. So his team was like, okay, let's try something different and let's film with these large format cameras to see if the audience can get really invested in the characters and the storytelling. It's crazy. And moving on. So about the resolution, that 18K really translates to the viewer and also on screen. Even if it's downscaled to 1080p or 4K, you can really notice the detail and the clarity compared to digital and 35mm. It's mind blowing. Did it enhance your viewing experience?
For me, yes, it did because as a person who likes things to look the best at what they are.
Yeah.
You need to have a good resolution.
Yeah.
To see the fine bits of detail that the directors or the set designers put in.
Yeah.
So for me, I like to see every single brush stroke or whatever it is in the scene.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Hollywood, that film format is so rare nowadays. It's just when you see filmed in IMAX 70mm cameras, it's like, oh my god, I've got to go and see it because this is like, it's an event. I mean, it barely happens nowadays, which is so sad. I don't know why they don't do it.
I know.
It's so sad.
It's funny.
It's probably like costs so much more
money.
It costs
a ton of money.
Do, and I'm not being rude, but maybe the film industry hasn't been the greatest for the past year or so because of the virus.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Cinemas and the major big budget TV shows are not getting as much money because no one's going to the cinema because they can't go and watch the stuff.
Yeah.
And that might be due to it as well.
Yeah.
Maybe, or
So even before the virus, film companies are lacking the creativity.
Yeah. I mean, it's how they used to shoot
films that are just like, let's just try and make the best movie possible while spend the least amount of money.
I mean, Chris Nolan and his team always try to use as much in camera as possible and very little CGI. I mean, they use CGI in some shots because I know they can't hire out a building and I mean they can't hire out a penthouse and just tell everybody to like get off their things. So they build a set and they build the green screen, you know, like outside it, and then they enhance it with visual effects to put backgrounds in. So that's how you use CGI correctly.
It's not like the others. They literally green screen everything.
Yeah.
It's understandable for COVID.
Yeah.
Because we can't go outside anyway, so it's actually useful.
Yeah. How suitable is this aspect ratio for the subject matter of the scene?
For me, that works very well, and like I said before, you can see every bit of detail, and that bit of detail might come in handy.
Yeah.
It's like for subtle references that might lead to the next scene, or therefore foreshadowing the end of the film, possibly, or a heavy detail in the plot.
Yeah, yeah.
If that makes sense.
I mean, normal 240 is good for like, I don't know, like normal dialogue scenes, but for action scenes, you really need to frame that big format camera around those scenes, otherwise they don't really match up. So
Definitely.
when I see IMAX scenes being cropped on home video, it just breaks my soul really, because I'm like, why did you use all that time and money just to crop out the shots that the director intended? Sometimes it's a director of photography working with the director, and sometimes it's the editor.
Yes.
I mean, it can be both ways. It's crazy. So, finally, how do you think the two clips compare to each other in terms of viewing experience?
To me, I think
go on. Sorry.
I think that the first clip is way more effective in my standards.
Yeah.
I thought because I like. For me, I'm into more retro, vintage type of films.
Yeah.
And styles. That one was like way more effective for me because it's like it was done very well. But I like how they didn't automatically use the dirty lens, what's it called, filter kind of thing. They just
film grain.
Yeah, that's it. They just stuck with normal like camera.
Yeah.
They didn't make it anything special. They just made it what it is.
Believe it or not, actually, both of those films he did did use 35mm film Panavision cameras for like most dialogue scenes. So it's interesting.
That's cool.
It does, yeah. It's crazy.
And for me, I'm kind of the same with Lewis. I like. I love detail, and that really made them very different between them two.
Yeah.
Because one is very, very retro.
Yeah.
And old, and the other one's like fairly new. And
yeah.
And that's where the transition is.
Yeah.
Of old style and the new style content.
Yeah, I mean, both of those directors used, well, mostly the same aspect ratio in different ways. I mean, Tarantino used 4:3 in black and white as a storytelling device and tool, whereas Christopher Nolan used the IMAX 1:3 ratio as a immersive tool to really immerse the audience in the action scenes and the opening scene. So it's pretty cool how they use it in different ways. So, yeah, anything you guys want to add before we wrap up?
Just that those two movies that you picked were very, very perfect examples of the use of aspect ratio. Of aspect ratios, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Like Lewis said the other time.
Yeah.
It's very rare to see that happen now in modern day content.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really lazy that modern filmmakers choose to always do 240 all the time and don't experiment with like different aspect ratios such as 1:8 or 4:3. I think it's kind of sad, really. I mean, what I've learned from those two directors is to do as much as in camera work as possible, and then if you have time or if you can do it, try and do a little bit of VFX to really enhance the scene, but do as much as in camera work as possible, so that way it gives a better impression on the audience. So that's about it, really. So go on, Liz.
Because in camera work, you can't change that in post, but you can change the visual effects in post.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like, it doesn't make sense the way people choose for your effects. You could do that later.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they shot that shot that bank heist scene all practical is crazy. I mean, they mounted the IMAX camera on the on a helicopter, and then they actually flew inward in the building, and then they had the camera on a zip line, so they went like diagonal with the actors who were on the zip line. It's phenomenal. So they must have done a lot of test shoots. So yeah, that's about it really. Thanks so much for joining this call, and thanks for your input.
You're very welcome.
Really grateful.